Hello, welcome. I'm Hannah and I'm so excited for today's video because my favorite thing to talk about is my favorite things. This is like a follow-up video to a video I posted a while ago. Allow me to explain. I posted a video last March, so March of 2023, and actually I posted when I was away. And I might have like pre-filmed it in February, so it's been a while, okay? The video was inspired by Maggie's Makeup Medleys video about, I think hers was the 10 shadows she would keep if she could only keep 10 shadows. And the idea was that that would be your entire collection. So you're not just saying, these are my favorite sparkly, amazing shadows. You're saying like, this is a small palette of single shadows that I could live with, you know? So I had taken some creative liberties and I did 12. And in that video, I think I said like, let me know if you want to see another 12. And some people were like, yeah, but then other people were like, how about more? How about 40? And I was like, I love you guys. You guys are my people. We're gonna do 40. So here I am in a completely timely manner to tell you what my 40 shadows would be if I could only keep 40 of my single shadows. So we're gonna start with the 12 that I had already picked out. I actually haven't like filmed the overhead footage yet, so I haven't reviewed what the 12 are, but I bet I would still stick with them. I'll of course note when we get to that point if that is true or not. And then we're going to choose 28 others to be like my beautiful perfect 40. And I feel like with the 12, it was such a small number that like, although I could live with those 12, I would still be longing for more. But I'm really curious how I'm going to feel about the 40, because I feel like 40 is a number that like, I would have some choice. I would have some ability to like curate, make little individual six pans and stuff, like if it was my entire collection. So I'm just saying I'm excited to see what the 40 looks like and how the 40 feels. Without further ado, let's just switch over to my hands and play with my single shadows, yay! Okay, so I went through last year's video to determine the 12 that I had selected then, and as I was pulling these out and watching along, I was like, hell yeah, hell yeah. Divina Pancake Bubbles, Divina Fairy Fire, Divina Soleils, Luxie Everything, Glaminatrix Fate, Luxie Angel Wings, Terra Moons The Cosmos, Menagerie Cetacean, Cleona Carving, Divina Nocturne Ash, Luxie Sultry, and Colourpop Noche. I feel like if I were to remake this original 12 pan today, I don't think I could do it any better. I don't know if it would exactly be the same necessarily, but if it wasn't, I don't think it would be better. And I think that's kind of a testament to perhaps how little my single eyeshadow style has changed in the past year, which I'm happy about, and also how few like ultimate tippy top favorites I've acquired in the past year. So I feel like this is a fabulous starting off point, and I'm going to rearrange them because it's going to be, I think I'm going to put it in as 5 rows of 8. It's not necessarily going to stay in this order, but I am going to put them in this order so I can keep a general count of how many I have left to go. The idea was that this 12 pan is kind of like a little shadow wardrobe. I could survive with just these 12 shadows. So because these 12 are here, I feel like I don't need to worry as much for the next 28 about making sure all of my bases are covered because the most important bases are already covered. So I think my game plan is I'm just going to go through my storage palettes and pull out my favorites, and hopefully I'll be discerning enough when I decide what's a favorite that I won't go over the limit. If I do, then we'll have to consolidate a little bit. If I don't, then we'll have to go through and pull some more. I'm really curious to see how it will go, and I'm really excited to see because like just these 12 make me so happy. So imagining 40 to like bring me ultimate happiness, I think it's there and I just have to like sculpt it out of the ice. I just have to like chip away at my single shadows until I get it. So this first palette I'm going to look at, okay, this isn't like the most exciting palette to start with, but at the same time, I feel like when I look at my shadows, I know what I want. So from these Adept shadows, ACD5 is a favorite. I always hope that one day they'll bring it back, but they don't sell their singles anymore. I feel like other brands do have similar formulas to these like squishy Adept Wet Look Shiny Shadows. And I will swatch all of these at the end. From these Menagerie shades, I know I want to pull out Animal Kingdom. I haven't worn this in a while, and I feel like because it's so tucked away and I think of this as more of like an unexciting palette, I don't think to reach into it for this. But this is one of my favorite, like, easy but beautiful, like all over the lid type of shadows. Yeah, perhaps I would come back to this if I have extra room, like this Orange Adept one I could see wanting, or perhaps some of the colorful Menagerie shades, but for now, those are the two, like, super important to me ones. And here I have my ColourPop shades, and then a couple Tarte ones down at the bottom. And this, again, I feel like I could come back to, but I know for sure I want Sincerely. It's like this really beautiful, bright berry matte that I love wearing for my lower lash line. And then I have these two kind of like berry-ish shades. I know I just used berry for the other one. Very different types of berries. But these are shadows that I really like. This is Get Out and Cute Alert. I've had these forever, but they're just nice, like easy to work with, kind of like burgundy browns. Oh, I want this one, but I barely use it, so I feel like I shouldn't. This is Pretty Cruel. Yeah, I feel like I don't need this. I'm just attracted to it when I see it, but that's a story for a different day. My Clionadh shadows. A couple jump out at me that I know for sure I want in here. One of them is Palace. This was probably my favorite shade that I purchased last year. Really pretty dimensional light pink. I also need Mural. I'm actually kind of surprised that this wasn't in the original 12. Did I have this at that time? I'm pretty sure I owned this a year ago. Yeah, I'm surprised at myself that this wasn't already in here because I feel like this is such like an all-time favorite for the entire time that I've owned it. And I can't imagine my life without it. I feel like if I lost all of my single shadows, that would probably be like the one I would purchase first. There's so many in here that I really love, but I'm going to rein it in to just 2 more for now. And again, we can come back to this. This is Emblem. I think of this also as kind of like an easy to wear but interesting multi-chrome in the same way that like Mural and Palace are. Like they're not so deep, they're not so fussy, but they're so unique and impactful on my lids. And then also Bronze Fountain is one of my favorite neutrals. Over here we have the Twilight palette. I did a really fun collab video with Catherine B. Beauty if you missed it, and ever since I've really been enjoying this palette. So I know for sure I want Moby. This is my favorite shadow from Produce for Your Face, a really beautiful, interesting satin shade. I love it for my crease, I love it for my lower lash line, I love it all over my lid as a base. I probably could just leave it all over my lid, but I tend to just wear it as a base if I'm going that route. Also in here is Mystic Moon Pie from Divina. I bet I was tempted to include this in the original 12 also, and I bet I didn't because it's not similar to Carving, but, you know, I feel like they occupy the same type of spot. But with 40 shadows, they're definitely both in here. I'm definitely tempted by others. I'm tempted by Divina Earthshine, by Clionadh Vault, by Luxie Morning Rain for my lower lash line, by this like tealy iridescent from Shine by SD, but I'm gonna come back to these because I feel like this is filling up quickly. I mean, maybe not. How many have I chosen so far? I've chosen 11 so far, but I also know we haven't even like gotten to a lot of like the heavy hitter palettes. Okay, my Divina palette. I feel like I already do have a decent amount of my Divina shades in here, considering how few shadows are there. Yeah, 5 out of 23 are already Divina shadows. But looking at this, I'm like, all right, Midnight Nova, definitely. I love Midnight Nova. Sybil, I love this one for layering. I definitely want to include this one. And then I don't have anything orange in here yet. And I love Frothy Surf. This is like one of my favorite orange shadows. Yeah, I definitely want to include this one. Sorry if it's noisy. It was snowing today. I think my neighbor is shoveling. My cat is snoring. And then I feel like I also want to include my other favorite shadow from the collection with Frothy Surf, which is Frozen Waves. Like a really pretty berry purple with like teal shimmer on top. Love this. I want to include some of the neutrals too, but that is what I'm going to hold back on because I feel like I don't need those in here, but like the ones I already pulled, I do need those in here. And then on this side, I have some more Davina shimmers. I have my Davina mattes and I have my Luxie mattes. I think I do want to pull in this burgundy. This is Heartthrob. It's not like I reach for this that much, but I like it and I feel like it would give me like a lot of versatility for my looks. I'm tempted by these Davina mattes, but I don't know if they're unique enough to take up a spot in such like a refined palette. And the same thing with these other Luxie mattes. I love them, but I do kind of feel like my neutral bases are kind of covered. I mean, although I did go kind of like very neutral and then very pink with my transition colors. So actually I kind of do want to include some more of these. I think I want to include Sweetheart. This is one of my favorite transitions for something a little bit more pink. And then Dreamy is like a slightly deeper version of that. Yeah, and I think I'm going to leave that there for now. My Luxie shadows. I feel like I haven't been reaching for these as much recently. It might just be because Luxie hasn't released a collection in so long. They've kind of like fallen off my radar in a way. Yeah, I don't know if I'm just out of practice with these or what, but I'm looking at them and I'm like, I don't know, like I already have Angel Wings in the palette. I think I do want to include Hot Rod. It's like a really beautiful, warm, interesting neutral. But beyond that, I don't know if any single one is calling out to me enough. And I feel like space is getting limited in the palette, so yeah. Like Gingerbread, I'm tempted by, but I think I would rather choose like those Davina shimmers that I already pulled out over something like Gingerbread. So I'm gonna close this bad boy. I have my Terra Moon shadows and my larger pans from Give Me Glow and JD Glow. Yeah, I kind of feel like this is where I'm going to start getting into trouble because there's a bunch in here I want to pull out. I'm just going to pull them out and I think we are going to have to whittle down. I want to pull out Hyperspace. Love this when I want something more deep and intense, but also like shifty and somehow bright enough that it doesn't feel too deep, even though it has a deeper base. I love this neon for my lower lash line. This is Cosmic Haze. Oppie, I always feel so beautiful when I wear this. Venus in Chains, so shifty, such a unique shadow in my collection. Lunar Lavender, this had been recommended by commenters, and I think I can say it's like my favorite, like, true purple in my collection. Deimos is really pretty, but I think I could live without it. Halley's Comet, I don't want to live without it, but I think I could. Hourglass Nebula I really like. Venus I really like. I do feel like I already have so many like lighter shifty shadows or like more neutral interesting shadows that perhaps I can live without those. I'm also tempted to pull out Party Monster from Give Me Glow, but being in the larger pan, I don't know. I don't really want to include one large pan in this palette that has the potential to like fit together so nicely. I know that's like a silly, superficial reason, but it's true. These are my inner corner shades. I already do have a bunch of inner corner shades pulled, but realistically, I would want more colors than just those. UV from Clionadh, like a really pretty purple inner corner. Halo from Clionadh, really purple, really pretty red inner corner. Oh, I'm forgetting about Phoenix. Phoenix from Terra Moons. This is like a gorgeous orange inner corner. I feel like I'm gonna have to definitely make room for these. Oh, I'm so conflicted. I have Celestial, which is a more recent one to my collection. It was in the Glam Smitty Shine SD collab, and I've been wearing it a lot, but I feel like because I have to look for any reason to not include things, it's not as tried and true. I think this is Ice Blink though, yeah. Ice Blink from Shine by SD in collaboration with Seeking Shifts. I've had this longer, it is tried and true, and I feel like I would benefit from having a shadow like this that I could plop on top of any other shadow and kind of like change the vibe a little bit, make it a little more versatile. So we are at 40 shades now. I have 2 more palettes to go through, and I'm going to keep in mind during this that any that I pull out from here are going to have to kick out shadows from here. Okay, this is Dandelions, Sydney Grace, Electrum, Copacetic, Glaminatrix, Sydney Grace also. I would like Copacetic Ball Drop, but I don't think I like it enough to kick out something else, and I feel like Carving from Cleona kind of like occupies a similar space. I also really like these shades from Glaminatrix. These 3 at the top are newer to my collection. I got them last fall, and I've been enjoying them. But again, I don't think enough to knock out something else. Okay, whew, doing good. And then in here I have Pretty Sphere Face and Shine by SD. Okay, here's what's tempting me. Fairy Ring, this was in the collab with Bizarre Volta and M. Jones 5018, and I love this as like a holographic, almost looking topper. Yeah, I'm gonna put this to the side for consideration. I also really love these 2 that are from the first collab with M. Jones 5018 and Bizarre Volta, but the fact that I can't say like which one of them definitively makes it easier to not include them. So yeah, I think I'm going to shut this palette. Ooh, Glacier from Shine by SD I also really like, but I don't think it's a top 40 fave. Maybe top 50 though. Okay, and here's my 41 shadows. I just stared at this for a while, and I think the one that I'm willing to knock out is this one. This is Cute Alert from ColourPop. I feel like although it's not exactly repeated, it does fall into the color story as some of these other ones. I feel like the look of this could be recreated, and I feel like it's something that I would reach for on a less daily basis than these other matte shadows. Like, it's the one that would bring the least specialness to it, so I think I can kick it out. Okay, and then I'm going to try to rearrange these into something that makes sense. So typically I try to arrange palettes with like the lightest shades on top and a gradient down to the bottom. And that's what I started doing with this, but I don't really like it. And you know, this isn't something I'm putting together for the aesthetics of it, but I also know if it looked like this, I'd be less excited to reach into this. So I'm trying to think if there's some other way I could arrange this that still makes sense, but just like excites my eye a little bit more than this. I'm gonna try grouping this by warm and cool and see where that brings me. I guess the tough thing is that I have all these shadows that I love because they're warm and cool. So that's 15 that I called cool, 4 that I called neutral, and 21 that are warm. So right now I'm trying to take into account the breakdown of warm and cool, keeping my cool shadows more to this side, my warm shadows more to this side, and in the middle I have the more neutral shades, putting some mattes in. Because I do think in the first arrangement, my eyes kind of got lost in the sea of mattes, and if I can kind of create zones for myself, that might make it a more useful palette. Okay, is it the best it could ever be? Yes, just kidding. I think it could be improved, but no plan to make it better is jumping out at me, and I do think that this is useful and usable and a huge upgrade from how it was before. I think the way it was before was an easily navigable, is that the word, layout, and I could look at it and figure out where something would be. But I think this is a little bit more special, and I can imagine myself remembering where a shadow is within the palette. And I think knowing that it's kind of like divided in half will help me too. For instance, I have like my warm inner corner shades on this warm side with other warm shadows, and like the same with the cool shades. These mattes that I may use together to kind of like create a more blown out crease are all in the same place that I could just go from like one into the next if I want to. Yeah, I'm happy with this. And I think the only thing left to do now is swatch it out. Divina Fairy Fire, Luxie Everything, Clionah UV, Divina Pancake Bubbles, Luxie Dreamy, Terramoon's Phoenix, Clionah Halo, Divina Soleils, Shine by SD and Seeking Shifts Ice Blink, Pretty Sphere Face Moby, Luxie Angel Wings, Menagerie Animal Kingdom, Luxie Dreamy, Clionah Palace, Adept ACD6, Glaminatrix Fate, Terramoon's The Cosmos, Menagerie Cetacean, Divina Mystic Moon Pie, Clionah Mural, Luxie Sultry, Shine by SD Fairy Ring, Divina Sybil, Colourpop Sincerely, Clionah Emblem, Terramoon's Oppie, Clionah Carving, Divina Midnight Nova, Luxie Hot Rod, Luxie Heartthrob, Divina Frothy Surf, Colourpop Get Out. Oh, sorry for out of frame, I am useless with my left hand. Terramoon's Lunar Lavender, Divina Frozen Waves, Terramoon's Hyperspace, Divina Nocturne Ash, Clionah Bronze Fountain, Terramoon's Venus in Chains, Terramoon's Cosmic Blaze, Colourpop Noche. Here's all 40 swatches of what my complete collection would be if I could only keep 40. It's interesting how when selecting them, it did feel a little bit restrictive. I feel like this really is just like my tippy top favorites. But at the same time, now that it's all swatched out, like there's so much variation in here. I think I could get so many looks. I think with these 40, I would still feel like such an abundance of beautiful eyeshadow. I really love these. I could stare at them all day, but I think we should just switch back over to my face. Okay, so that's going to be everything for today. I want to give another shout out to you guys, to whoever commented on that video. Thank you guys for the suggestion. Thank you for enabling me to do this video. I've said this before, but like, I'm not always the best at responding to comments, but I see your comments and I appreciate them, and I'm always so inspired by comments and suggestions for future content. So you guys rock. Thank you so much. If this is your first time here, I hope you will subscribe. I hope you give this video a like if you like it. There's always way more makeup content on the way. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.